Yo everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So due to popular demand for many years, I have finally got around to doing an Asian, Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi bridal makeup tutorial. This one specifically is a peachy spring bridal makeup tutorial because obviously we're coming into spring. There will be many of you who may be getting married or thinking about getting married, or maybe next spring even, but you may want some inspiration. Or you could be wearing traditional gold, but you don't want to have the traditional makeup to go with it. So that's the reason why I've kept it very shimmery gold peach, as you guys can see. So that's it really. I think I may do a proper traditional like red and gold one at some point. But let me know what your thoughts are. Did you like this tutorial? Was it helpful to many of you? And that sort of thing. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what your thoughts are. If you are getting married this year, congratulations. Are you going to be doing something similar? Especially for those of you out there that may not want to use a makeup artist. I know I definitely won't. I will do my own makeup if that day ever comes. And so this way you can actually do your own. This is also for those of you who may just be attending a wedding function and you just want to wear something glam.
Hello! So first I'm going to be priming my eyes with the Urban Decay Primer Potion in the shade Enigma. This is to keep your eyeshadow in place all day, to stop it creasing and to make the colours look vibrant. Then I'm priming my face using the High Adherance Silicone Primer by The Ordinary. This works as the same thing as the eyeshadow primer to keep your foundation in place. I'm using the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Foundation in the shade Baklava. This is a full coverage foundation, perfect for bridal wear, for wearing for long periods of time, and full glam. So I'm just dotting that all over my face, and then I am blending it all in using a Real Techniques Expert face brush. And this is just a really good buffing brush for any kind of very thick full coverage foundation like this one. Then I am moving on to my eyebrows, and I'm using my Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow in the shade, what is it, dark brown. And this is what I use on my eyebrows pretty much every single day. And I'm using a double-ended brush by Anastasia Beverly Hills. I will link it below. And it just comes in handy because it's got a spoolie on one end. So the way I do my brows generally is I line the top, then I line the bottom, and I use a spoolie brush just to pull through any product so that they are not too intense. Now I'm using the Makeup Revolution Concealer in C7, and this is what I use to tidy up my brows. Plus my brows kind of need a bit of a thread. I've been growing them out secretly, and this is a good way to firstly tidy up your brows and to cover up any teeny tiny hairs that may be lurking around. Then I'm using the same foundation brush just to blend it all into the foundation so there's no obvious white line kind of going above and below the eyebrows. And then underneath the brows, just because the brush is too big and I'll end up going over my brow by accident, I'm just using my finger. That's the best thing to use for me anyway. Now I'm using the NYX HD powder in Banana, and I'm using the Raw Techniques contour brush. This is I'm going all over my eyes just to set everything to make it nice and smooth. Now we are using the, what is this palette? The Velvet Matte Eyeshadow Palette. The Just Peachy Mattes one. I forgot what it was called. I'm using the shade Peach Meringue all over the eyes using a Royal and Langnickel Eye Fluff brush. And then I am using Trophy Wife highlighter by Fenty Beauty, and I'm applying this to the brow bone because I want a really intense golden megawatt highlight. Now I'm using some Scotch tape because let's be honest, when you are on your wedding day, you have got no room for mistakes. So this is just to keep everything nice and tidy. So the first shade I'm using is Peaches and Cream, and I'm using a Morphe M330 blending brush to go backwards and forwards. This is our transitional shade. And then I am moving on to Just Peachy, and I'm using the same brush, and I'm going into the crease again because I'm trying to create like a gradient kind of effect. Then I'm using the shade Peach Cobbler. I'm using a Morphe M502 round blender brush, and I'm going into the crease. This is just to create a little bit of depth and dimension. I don't want a smoky eye, but I still want my eyes to look excuse me, cool. Then I'm using the same blending brush again just to blend out any harsh lines. Then I'm using the shade Peach Tart, and I'm using the same M502 brush to go over that shade, again to create a little bit more depth and dimension. Now slowly peel it off. This is why it's good not to do your concealer beforehand. Now you can see I've got a nice sharp crisp line to work with. Now I'm using that same concealer, and I'm using a NYX Pro Flat Detail brush to create a half cut crease. And because my eyes are different shapes, I have to keep checking to make sure that they are both symmetrical. So I didn't go right up to the edge, just a little bit up to it. And then I'm using the shade Peach Butter again just to set it all. And then I'm using the shade Peach Tart again just to blend the edges, because it's not a complete cut crease, it's a half one. Now I'm using the Stila Carefree Shimmer and Glow Liquid Eyeshadow to go all over the concealer, so that I've got a nice shimmery peachy eye going on. And then I'm just using any brush, flat brush, eyeshadow brush, whatever, just to set it all in place. Then I'm using the Stila Peachy Sheen Glitter and Glow Liquid Eyeshadow to go all over the top. This mixes together to create a peach shade with lots of gold glitter in it, so they work really nicely together. And now I'm just smoothing it all out. And then I'm using the Heavy Metal Glitter Eyeliner in the shade Midnight Cowboy by Urban Decay just to go into the crease. This is a really good way of disguising any mistakes, guys, by the way, in case your cut crease is not that good. I'm not that good at it. And then I'm using Smashbox Cosmetics Contour Stick. It's part of a, like a trio, and I'm using this to contour my face. I've created little cheeks for myself, can you see? Because I've got a roundish face and I just wanted to be a little bit extra, to be honest. And I am just doing this everywhere where I want to create dimension to my face. Then I'm using the lighter shade just to apply it to the nose area. And then I'm using the Makeup Addiction Cosmetics brush called The Queen, and I am blending it all out. This is a good way, because obviously I'm doing full glam, so that's the reason why we are going extra with the cream contour. By the way, my lighting keeps changing. I do apologize. I have fixed it since then. The sun was on me, so every now and then you will see it kind of gets lighter and darker, and it really kind of annoyed me, but I've bought blackout blinds since then, so I do apologize, but hopefully you will still like the tutorial regardless. So after I have blended that all out and I've used my finger for the lighter shade, I'm using the Urban Decay All Nighter Concealer, first in the shade Medium Dark Warm, followed by Medium Neutral, so that's to conceal and then to highlight as well. I'm going over my nose again because at the end of the day you don't want anything moving on your face, so layering things and going in a little bit extra for your wedding day is like almost a necessity. And now I'm using a damp beauty blender just to blend out the concealer under my eyes, and this blends in nicely to the foundation, but it's also not interfering with the cream contour which is underneath, not completely anyway. And then just blend out everything else so that it's all nice and seamless, especially on your nose, because if you're wearing makeup for a really long time, nose is the first place that gets shiny. Now I'm using the Luxury Powder by Makeup Revolution, and I'm using my Real Techniques contour brush to heavily apply it under the eyes. And if you saw my recent video where I showed you this technique, you leave it on for about 10 seconds into all the places where you don't want the concealer to move, and don't choke on it obviously like I was, and then you just brush it all off. This will stop any under eye creasing from happening during the day, and it will keep your under eyes looking fresh and smooth and lovely. Now I'm using the Peach Perfect powder by Too Faced, and I am setting my foundation using the Sigma F40 large powder brush again so that nothing moves throughout the day. Now just to finish off my eyebrows, I'm using the Tinted Brow Gel by Anastasia Beverly Hills in the shade Chocolate. This is just to make sure your eyebrows do not move throughout the day and that they stay nice and crisp and beautiful looking. And I'm using the NYC liquid liner, which I bought when I was in the US, and I am creating a fairly large wing, but as you can see I'm using the crease that I created earlier, or the line that I created with the Scotch tape, so that I am crisp and precise. I don't make any mistakes. This is why it's a really good tip to do this for your makeup day, because you cannot afford to make any mistakes. You haven't got time to fix it. You're on a deadline, people. Now I'm using the shade Just Ripe, and I am applying it to the lower lash line using a Morphe M431 pencil brush. and then I'm following that up with the shade Peach Punch and the same brush to brighten it. So you place a little bit of darkness and then a little bit of light. Then I'm using my Rimmel Scandalized Kohl Kajal to line my waterline with a dark black shade. Now my mascara is Worth the Hype by NYX Cosmetics, which is one of their newest mascaras, just to prep my eyes. Then I'm using Fenty Beauty's Trophy Wife again, and I am using that to open up my eyes, to place it on the tear duct. The eyelashes are my Miami ones by Lily Lashes. I'm just measuring up my eyes, as you can see, because on your wedding day you want to use brand new lashes, obviously. So I've just used some duo glue, and as I always do, I place it where I want to put it. Then I use tweezers just to kind of shift it around, move it around so that they look lovely. And then I'm using the Push Up Angel mascara by Maybelline, which is my favorite lower lash line mascara because of the length of the wand. Now I'm using the shade Java from the Anastasia Beverly Hills contour kit, and I'm using the Queen brush again just to very lightly go over the areas where there was a cream contour. This is just to set it all in place. And for the rest of my face, I'm using the Sigma F40 large angled contour brush. This again is just to make sure that I've set all the concealer. Now I'm using my Airspun powder to tidy up and sharpen my concealer using the Morphe M459 flat contour brush, so that any messiness that happened, if the contour went a bit too far down or whatever it is, you can now tidy it up and make it nice and sharp. Now I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills blush kit, and I'm using that orangey shade. Sorry, I can't remember the name, I'll list it below. And I'm using the MAC 129 blush brush to really kind of make my face look lovely and glowy. Now I'm using the Huda Beauty Golden Sands highlighting palette in the shade Seashells, and we are giving ourselves a nice beautiful golden glow using the Morphe M310 fan brush. Apply to all the high points of your face, and of course the Cupid's bow, so that your lips look beautiful and full. And then we are tidying up the face using the NYX powder yet again, so that it looks nice and sharp. For the lips, I'm using Huda Beauty's Bombshell liquid lipstick. This is a lovely peachy nude shade that looks amazing on so many different skin tones. So I'm applying that first, and because I thought, well, it is a bridal and an Asian bridal look, I can't just leave it at this. I'm gonna have to put on something else. So first I kind of let this dry, and then I went in with the Stila Glitterati top coat in the shade Embolden. It's a translucent lip coat, and it's got very, very fine golden glitter in it, so it's not too overpowering but beautiful and shimmery. Once you've done all that, accessorize yourself. I use my duo glue to keep my headpiece in a place all day, and then you are done. Don't forget setting spray, I forgot to add that at the end. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.